It's the year of zines. And to celebrate, I thought we'd take a little stroll down memory lane. This is my history with zines. I have always made zines. I just didn't call them that back then. I made books. When you're a kid and you want to be a writer, that means you want to make books. So I took my stories, I printed them out on paper, I folded them up, I stapled them, I drew pictures, and I made books. This is the Hungry Giant. This was an assignment from grade 1. So it's got to be 1987, maybe? 1987. The assignment was to take our favorite story and keep writing it. Essentially, we were making fan fiction back then. I love this because you can see I did a very good job on the cover and completely half-assed the inside drawings. The rest of the pages are all blank. There's no more drawings. I wrote, I am a writer. At my heart, I am a writer. And that's what I did. I wrote this story. My teacher started me off strong. I made this book back in grade 1, and I've never looked back. This one is from when I was in grade 3. All of the drawings are from Garfield comics. So we copied this completely. We drew them ourselves, like they're not traced. We did actually draw these drawings. But what I love about this is that we wrote prose to go with it. So we took the pictures and invented the rest of the story that Jim Davis didn't put or couldn't put because he doesn't have the space in a comic strip. And even more is this cover. Look at it. We've got the half cover. How inventive is that? So good. Oh, Arlene and Garfield forever. Perfect for Valentine's Day. Newspaper from high school. This is 1999. It's called The Buzz because our mascot was the Hornet. I was not a journalism student, and our school was not big enough to have an actual class and classroom. So it was, here we go, here's my name. This is a page that I did. The creative writing students had like an art section. So I was in the creative writing class. The students who actually made the paper were in the journalism class. Oh my God. Oh my God. Y2K problems. Oh, I love it. Just some of that 90s graphic design, that Y2K flavor. So I wasn't a big part of the newspaper, but man, it felt good to be published. What I was part of was in university, we did the Writers Guild, and we put out a couple anthologies. This is spring 2006. I was the fiction editor, which means that I spent many Saturdays in a big conference room with just stacks and stacks of stories, reading it, like reading a slush pile, right? And choosing what to go in there. One of the great things about the Writers Guild is we did open mic nights as well too, which I loved. I loved reading my stuff out loud. So the kernel was there, the inspiration was there. I was making books in different capacities. And even though being published in the Writers Guild anthology was great, I wanted to do something of my own. I wanted to do something independent. And that's when I created Print Shout. This was just me. And I just asked my fellow students to submit something to me. Could be anything. But this was the first time that I asked other people to submit. This was the first time that I made something with other people. Let me read a little bit of this. I wrote, "Words on paper seems a quaint venture for the 21st century. I learned to write on an Atari 400. My Mac iBook does it for me today." I was 2007. And at the same time, I was making my own zines with a typewriter. So this one is called Pi. I was just fascinated by lists of things. I say was, but I still am. I just thought it would be really fun to do a zine with all the digits of pi. Obviously not all of them, as many as I could. There's a lot of them. Here's the concept for this zine, and tell me if this is bananas. I wrote poems using words that corresponded to the numbers of pi. So, first couple digits of pi, the ones that I always remember, 3.14159. C, I love a great rock and roll, so please write the songs. C has 3 letters, I has 1 letter, love has 4, 3.14. I wrote a whole bunch of poems related to the numbers of pi. Bananas. That's 2006. 2009, I went on my very first trip on a plane. I went to LA to visit some friends. I wrote, again on my typewriter, I wrote this letter as like a little, I mean, it's kind of like poetry. It's like prose poetry. I was very inspired by Harold Pinter back in college. I loved his prose poems. I wrote this as a memory of that trip to LA. And then what I did is I folded it up into one of those origami envelopes and I sent it to my friend, and I sell it as a zine today. I wanted to do one for every city that I visited. I never did. I only ever made the one. I made a lot of random zines in between that time. 2011, I was living in Halifax trying to write a novel. I went to a couple open mics and I would take my writing printed as a zine to give out to the audience. I wrote this essay when my hockey team lost the Stanley Cup and I printed that out as a zine. I made a lot of really random stuff. And then in 2015, I set myself a challenge. I've told you about this before. It's called Sunday Zine. One zine every week for an entire year. And the way that I did that is I gave myself the limitation. So it was one piece of paper, folded quarter size, so it was 8 pages total. And almost all of them I made like this with just a black Sharpie. That was it. So this is the one that I made at the very end of the challenge. How to make a zine a week for 365 days. I made zines out of everything back then. I made zines out of cat doodles. This is Jack. He's not alive anymore, but he was a great orange cat. I made zines out of charcoal rubbings of my parents' fireplace. My parents' fireplace is made out of what we call Princeton rock because there was a huge landslide back in like the 70s, I think. And all of that rock had to go somewhere. So it got built into tons of stuff. And one of those things is my parents' fireplace. Now it's a zine. In 2017, I made my very first game. This one is not it. This is the golden record. This is one of my favorites that I made. I made it to celebrate Voyager 1. The 40th anniversary was in 2017. But this is when I discovered itch.io, and I discovered that they have game jams and zine jams on their website. And that opened up possibilities for me. 2018, I was gonna go to XOXO's festival that's held in Portland and felt like I needed to do something to prove that I belonged there. I was looking back at like my blog and my zines that I had made, and it had been a while since I had made something. So I set myself a challenge. The festival was in September, and for August, I made something every single day. One of the things that I made was this zine right here. It's called Thanks It Has Pockets. This zine turned into this book. Because of somebody that I met at that festival in September. It's amazing the way that the world works, isn't it? After that, I was all in on zines. This was going to be my thing now. And I went to my local library and I said, I would love to teach people how to make zines. What can I do? Can we do a class? Can we do a workshop? Can we just do a night where I bring in my paper and my scissors and we just make zines? And they said, yes, absolutely, let's do it. Looking through my archive, all the zines that I have from 2019 are these random little one-off things. So this one is called Crayola. It's only using the crayons that I had, the names, and the names in French, because they're Canadian crayons. They're bilingual. And this one is just sticker sheets that I'd been collecting forever. These classes were so great because I could just bring all of those little bits and pieces and ephemera, the crayons and the pencils and the stickers and the stencils and everything that I'd been collecting for 40 years and just say, make something. I like corn. I was ahead of the curve on that one. December 2019, I decided I was going to do the farmer's market that summer. I was going to make sourdough starter. I had a sourdough starter that I had been feeding for a little while using, and I learned that you can dry it and then reconstitute it. And I thought, wow, that is a great idea, because then I can sell it online as well. You can sell it through the mail. So I was making homemade sourdough bread and selling the starter at the farmer's market. This was my plan. January 2020, I submit my application. I'm going to do this farmer's market. I'm making my plans. And then of course we know what happened in March 2020 and that limbo of, is it going to happen? It did, because it was outdoors. It was wild. It was a trip. But this is the zine that I made. This is the zine that I made with all the instructions for how to use your sourdough starter. I was baking bread and I was making zines. I called it my book and bake shop, but I wanted to do more with the zines. I didn't want to just be the bread person. 2021, I started streaming. This was the flyer for my very first streaming workshop. I did it on Twitch back then. Oh my God, I was terrified. I was terrified of pressing that go live button, but I did it. That first stream was just about zines. It was just me talking about let's make zines. But then I figured out I could make zines live on stream. And that's where all of this started. That's why I'm here on YouTube now. And one of the first zines that I made in 2022 was this one. Everything that I've learned from my first month of streaming. 2024, we're back. We're making zines again. Most of them look like this. Little tiny mini zines. This is one that I made going back to XOXO in August. I was like, I need something to give to people so they know who I am. But I don't have stickers, and I didn't really have time to make stickers. And I don't have a business card. I'm gonna make a zine. So this zine was like my calling card. I really loved this idea. You can actually watch me make this zine on one of my live streams. It says here, Sunday, June 30th, 2024. I'll link that one down below. You can go watch me make this zine. And that's what I'm doing now. Making zines live here on YouTube. Most of them look like this, but I want to do more. Break out of my rut just a little bit. I still like that little mini zine for like the weekly thing. But in this 2025, the year of zines, I want to make more. And I hope you'll come along with me. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you do that now. Come and join us and make your zine. Because this is the year. This is the year that we're going to do it.